there a lot of students here today? Let me hear. All right, so with a lot of students, you got a lot of possibilities, right? You got a lot of energy in the room, and the theme is energy. But I'm not really talking about energy when you turn on lights. I'm talking about energy that you create up here. And I'm not going to get spiritual, I'm not going to get technical, right? I'm not going to get all frou-frou-y on you about energy. But I'm talking about energy that you can feel here and that can propel you down the path of your life. So let me ask you, what did you want to be when you grew up? Anybody, shout it out. All right, musician, maybe president of the United States, all these different things, right? Me, 14 years old, I wanted to be a rock star. And I didn't want to be just any rock star, and I know there's a lot of students here, but does anybody know who Pete Townsend is? All right. So I wanted to be Pete Townsend, and I was so focused on being him that I forgot who I was. And that's what we do sometimes. We focus on these things. I literally didn't want to be like Pete Townsend. I wanted to be Pete Townsend. And what happened was I forgot who I was. And we do that a lot, right? We focus on these big things, and we really don't focus on the function of what that person is. So I needed to define what a rock star is. I needed to understand what the essence of it, because to become somebody else is kind of foolish. So let me ask you to do something. I want you to close your eyes. I can't see you, so close your eyes. And I want you to picture yourself 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years from now. And I want you to see it. What are you doing? Can you see it? Better yet, can you feel it? All right, now I want you to open your eyes. Did anybody actually do it? Yeah. Okay. So, you say these things to people, they yawn. Anyway, some of you may actually have seen a vision, right? You might have actually seen something. And that, to me, is the energy, right? Because you feel excited about it. You feel charged about it. And that's the energy. So you can pull from the future into the present and get that energy and set yourself on a path. Okay? Kind of hard to follow, I know. So let me tell you a story. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. So I was born and it was always expected that I was going to go to college, right? So graduated high school, boom, in college. Sophomore year, completely bored. Didn't want to be in college anymore, didn't want to study anymore. I had no energy, I had no charge, I didn't even know what I wanted to become. So I was going to drop out. My brother, who had graduated college a few years earlier, sat me down at the student union at Boston University, looked me in the eyes and said, "You do not want to be out here." He said, "Stay in college, you have an opportunity." So I still did the 4-year plan. I didn't do a 5, 6-year plan like some of my friends. But anyway, he said, find courses that excite you. Find courses that are different and strange. Make your own curriculum. Make it yours, because you're never going to have this opportunity again. So I did that. I made it mine. I found an organization in Boston that trained monkeys to help and live with quadriplegics. Amazing group of people. And I got a psychology professor to sponsor me, and I did that as an independent study for 2 years. I found a class called The History of Humor, and I wrote a term paper on John Belushi. And I learned all about storytelling from great comics. I took creative writing classes, and I wrote poetry, and I started to learn how to write short stories and become a storyteller. And I was a musician, so I started to write student soundtracks for student films, and I even starred in a couple student films. And what happened? I started to get excited about school again. I started to get charged. I started to get excited. And I didn't even realize it, but I had started to define what it meant to be a rock star. So, all right, so follow me here. What's a rock star do? Besides the obvious, right? A rock star's on stage. A rock star gets people excited. A rock star entertains people, tells stories, has a lot of fun. So, like I said, I wanted to be a rock star when I was 14 years old, so I started a band. By the time I graduated college, I was playing in front of thousands of people all over the East Coast. The quest to be a rock star had begun. But then I grew up, and I moved out. I graduated college, I moved out to California, and I got my master's in counseling and psychology. So I wasn't performing so much anymore, but I was helping other people tell their story. Following this a little bit? Then I got a job. I was the personal assistant to Roseanne Arnold, Tom Arnold. That's a whole other TED Talk. And I probably need the 25-minute slot for that. But again, I was hobnobbing with some interesting people. And then I became a teacher. And for those of you out there who are teachers, you know that that's a performance every single day of the year. You have to perform as a teacher. So I wasn't playing the large crowds, I was playing the small crowds. But as a teacher, you got to keep them engaged, you got to keep them entertained. So I was performing again. Then I started my company, and around 36 years old, which I'm not, I started to speak, and I went all over the country, and I've been speaking to all groups, different sizes of people, again, telling stories and all of that. So I may not be Pete Townsend, right? And I may not be Steven Tyler, for those of you for reference. But I am on a stage, and I'm telling my story, and I'm excited, I'm charged, I'm having fun, and hopefully I'm entertaining you. So basically, my definition, I am a rock star, because I defined what it was. And so what I want you to do, I don't want you to so much focus on the form of who you want to become. I think that's great. You can dream and all of that. I think it's wonderful. But also focus on the function of who that is. And I didn't realize it, but now I realize it. I was focusing on the function. And I pulled that energy from the future right now into the present, and I continued down my path. So thank you very much. Have a great conference. Rock on.